Welcome to the School Readiness Conversation, where we unpack school readiness in Zimbabwe. Here we discuss issues to do with the importance of early childhood development. We want to look at how ready are our children to go into school. The topic of the day is parent-teacher-child relationship. I'm Dixon Maradze, your host. Joining me is Mrs. Mute. Mrs. Mute, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Maradze.
And Mrs. Majore. Mrs. Majore, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Going straight into the conversation, can anyone be ready for school?
Yes, and they cannot be ready at a time, depending on the type of development that they would have been given, the foundation. So when you are saying a child is ready, we are looking at the holistical development of the child. We are looking at the physical aspect, we are looking at the social aspect, we are looking at the intellectual aspect, we are looking at the emotional aspect.
You are bringing in a whole new conversation, Ms. Mote. My memory tells me that school readiness used to be measured by the way one could touch their other ear. That would actually determine to say you are ready for school. So there's this new school of thought, which is aligned to early childhood development. And I want you to go through again those attributes you have been outlining to say this is what school readiness is all about.
Yes. Yeah, I've often noticed that even with parents that we work with, they look at, I've mentioned the five, the social, the physical, the intellectual, the emotional. But a parent would look at one aspect. Maybe let's talk of the intellectual. The child is very clever, he can do A, B, C, D, and then come to the emotional side. The child is not emotionally stable to interact and socialize with the other children. So we want to look at all those aspects. Is the child
the holistic development of the child. Then we can say the child is ready.
The child is ready.
You are in the practice of early childhood development, and your responsibility is to take them from the first school, which is the family, into the school environment. What is school readiness?
Right, like my colleague said, that they have to be ready, psychologically as well, physically. Then it starts from home before they come to school as well. The parent also have to prepare the child. They have to be ready. What I would say is the parent has to sort of prepare the child before they come to school of the expectations that are going to mix with other children and the teachers. And with teachers, for instance, the child has to be told that they have to be confident, and anything that they need, they have to consult the teacher.
So what we are saying here is there has to be the social development, there has to be the intellectual development, there has to be the physical development. We want the child to be healthy as they are coming into school. And you have brought out to us three variables. We have the child at the center, and we have the parent who is bringing to us the child in the school, and we have a teacher. So this is a platform that we want to take off from. We want to talk about the relationships between the parent, the child, and the teacher, because it is in this triad that we have effective development of the child. Now, as you recall, are the teachers working together with the parents and with the child for effective early childhood development? Ms. Mut.
Yes, please. Like what my colleague has said, the child has to be prepared. So a teacher and a parent and the child, they have to have a relationship no matter what. Sometimes children are just thrown into us. The parent just leaves. There's no preparation. The child doesn't even know what's happening. He's just left under our care. So we've got to start from the word go, like starting to prepare that child. And yet, if we have a relationship, we will be talking about it during that enrollment process. Is the child prepared? is the child aware of what is going on? So most of the parents, they think sending a child to school is just driving in and you drop and the teacher takes over.
Right. This is where quality inclusive education begins. How do we receive the child in the school? If this is like, there is a drop-off zone, drop the child, send the child to class, come back, pick up, then I don't see the relationship that we are going to discuss here. As people responsible for ensuring that we have healthy relationships, what do you do to ensure that parents have got an understanding of their role in early childhood development? What do you do?
Okay, this is done.
Sorry, Miss Majore wanted to come
Okay.
in. I could see a
Right.
boiling inside there.
Okay, the parent drops off the child, and at our ACD centers, there has to be a teacher by the gate to actually receive the child, receiving the child physically. You greet the parent, receive the child, make the, do a bit of checkup, health checkup, if the child is well or having flus and stuff.
Very
like
interesting. So you are saying, at entry point, there is a conversation
that. Yes,
between a parent and a child
brief, yeah.
about the child. And now I'm bringing the question, where is the voice of the child? We are talking of a triadic relationship.
Okay, so at times, right, as you are speaking to the parent, sometimes the children interjects and actually says the truth or says the situation. The parent might say the child is well. At that moment, it takes only a few seconds. Then the child says, no, I'm not well, I'm still coughing. So that's
Great. So this is not looking at children as just recipients of knowledge and information. They are active in the making of the knowledge that goes to them. And as we go into this break, I'm yearning to ask more questions about where is the voice of the child. It is important that you have spoken to us and emphasizing and stating categorically that the relationship between the parents, the child, and the school is at the center of early childhood development initiatives. We take a short break and we continue as we come. Welcome back. Before the break, Mrs. Munte, Ms. Majore, we spoke on the foundation of the relationship that develops a child. Our main issue is stimulation. Our main issue is keeping our children in their development trajectory. And that relationship is key. Now, tell me, in the ECD schools, where is the boundary between the teacher and the parent? Do we have, and at what point, let me say, difficult parents?
Yes, we do. But the boundary, like from the enrollment process.
Yes, we do. So a parent can be a difficult parent today, but tomorrow he comes, he's still our parent.
That's the
Okay,
thing.
go on.
Because it's our customer, so it will always be. So what we are saying is, from the enrollment stage, we have to set up our boundaries. Even that's when we involve the child. The child is also involved when we call, say, child participation. So the child will go around the school and see what the place is like. The parent will also go around the school. Then that's when we'll talk of our rules and regulations. Then the parents will come in with the questions and then whatever input they have. So we take it up from there.
Be very clear with what our parents should do. I've often seen our parents answering questions that the child can answer. They bring the child to school, you ask a question, so what is your name? And mother is quick to say, this is Tinotenda. Let's talk about that quickly.
Okay, like I said earlier on, that let the child be. They also have a voice.
So that's a boundary. Let the child be. Please
Yeah.
go on.
And they have a voice, both ways.
They can speak.
Yes, to the teacher, to the principal, and to the parent as well, to their own parents as well. So they also have a voice. And I would say 90% of the time, children speak the truth, mostly. Despite being whether it's a bad thing or a bad comment that has been passed on by the teacher or the parent at home or at school, 90% of the time they are truthful in my research.
So what we are saying is these children, yes, the relationship is supposed to be held when we involve the child. So parents, let the children be, let the children speak.
Yes.
We are continuing now to say, now, what is a time when the parent feels the teacher has interfered, or when the teacher feels the parent has interfered, when we are looking at ECD classroom practice? At the end stops. Where do I stop as a father, as a mother?
Yeah, it has to be professional, right?
The relationship should be professional.
The relationship has to be professional. What I'm talking about right now is that I'll give an example, right, of say when we give homework to the children. Then that homework, then I'm saying to the child, they have
ECD has homework.
Yes.
Wow.
It's not.
Things are getting difficult. Go on.
I can ask a child to bring counters. When I'm talking of counters, can be sticks, can be stones. Maybe I can say, please, can you bring 10 counters? And my instruction is at school that can you go and look for counters on your own with the help of the parent. Sometimes the parents then they go on to do the homework for them.
So I see. And for you, that is interference.
Yes,
when you mark the paper tomorrow, you are not marking the child. You are marking the parent who did the homework for the child.
But I tell you what, on that point, that's when I've always said that the child, usually children are truthful. The parent says the child did the homework, but when I'm in class now with the child or other kids, normally they say the truth.
Yeah.
Mommy did this for me. I'm
reminded of a student when I was a teacher who used to say, I pay the maid to do the homework for me. Homework is another subject that we are going to talk about, but we want to continue to say now, if we don't have cohesion between what is happening in the school and what is happening at home and what also is given to the child is derailed in the development. We are putting the three together to develop the child's brain. But we still have those issues of boundaries and interference. When a parent makes a demand to the school, is that overstepping? Your homework is too little, I'm not happy. Has the parent that capacity to speak on what the school is providing and point to what they can call probably as inconsistencies or inadequacies?
It depends on what you would have agreed on the initial stage of enrollment. We will present the routine, what we expect from them, and then what they expect from us. Then we will lay out, this is possible, this is not possible. Like I heard you asking about homework. Like somebody to say, I want my child to have homework. But the type of homework that we give is not like, say, go and write, go and read, because they are not capable of doing that. Tomorrow, go and bring 5 sticks. Go and pick 5 sticks outside. That's the homework for you. Then you find the parent going to pick those sticks for them. So that one is now doing it for them. So what we are saying is, then the parent will be saying, I expect my child to read. And yet in our curriculum, reading is not part of it.
Now that's very, very interesting. You are bringing the issue that is a bone of contention when it comes to the provision of early child development initiatives. Reading, language, and play. Those 3 are always an issue to say, I don't pay so much for my child to come here and play. This child is not speaking good English. What are you doing?
ECD they are supposed to learn through play. They learn through play. So, and then reading, as my colleague said, those are now expectations. And I think I would call it pressure from the parent.
So you have pressure from the parents.
Yes, we
against the curriculum that you have that you are using.
Yes, like I said earlier on, that we also use the curriculum, the guided curriculum from the ministry. So if you go through that curriculum, it doesn't say that we should at that stage they should be able to read.
So the relationship,
follow the guidance from the
relationship between a teacher, a parent, and a child is marred with some inconsistencies. And what I'm hearing from you here is the issue of expectations. Having clear expectations at the beginning, making the parents aware of what the curriculum dictates, how the children learn, what should be learned, and the importance of what is learned is the issue. We want to advocate for a healthy relationship between the teacher, the child, and the parent. And central to it is the voice of the child. Welcome back. We are still discussing this whole topic, school readiness. Now, Ms. Mute and Ms. Majore, going deeper into the conversation, to say we have got a relationship that we want to maintain, and it has to be a healthy relationship for the betterment of the development of the child. But looking at specific issues, two issues, communication between the teacher and the parent. How often should it be? How do you handle it for it to give us that healthy relationship we are looking for? Because many times we have a conflict.
It's always the case, but what we normally encourage, parent and teacher should always be in constant communication.
What tools are in place in early childhood centers?
We've got communication books that they would use. Okay, in the event that there is a conflict, it must go through the head. And then the head is the one who's going to deal with it. Because if a teacher has to go to the class, remember we are having this child, who both of us are role models to that child. So if we are going to start arguing in front of that child, we kill that little
There is
soul.
toxicity in the environment
Yes,
of the
there is
child.
toxicity.
We are bringing the child to what they should not be exposed
What
to.
they should not be exposed to.
Okay.
So what we are saying, any misunderstandings, they come through the head. You come to the head and you present your issue. The head should be a professional person to know what to do, how to take it up, how those two can communicate again together. But otherwise, the child is not in the picture during this process.
So basically communication is about how the school organizes the communication channel. And we've got that tool which you mentioned as the communication book.
Yes.
But how often, Ms. Major, should a teacher with a communication book which the child carries to school communicate? Because communication is where we find this issue of conflict that we want to further look at.
Okay. Communication can be daily, weekly, but the more you communicate, the better. Like, if there's a problem, then you can solve it sooner.
I'm imagining a teacher with 15 students reading those communication books every day. Is that part of their routine?
You can just go through them, really. It doesn't have to be like a composition, really. It's just like a short line. I mean, sometimes we communicate even upon pick, like we're not doing morning pick. And then when you pick the child from their homes, usually sometimes there's a parent or maid or aunties there. If they have something to say, they actually pass the message to the teacher in the school bus.
So communication is key. We cannot have non-communication between the teacher, the child, and the parent.
Yes.
But it's about how it is organized,
Exactly,
so that
yeah.
it does not give us conflicts.
Yes.
Now, as we move deeper, we want to look at, suppose there's a conflict between a teacher and a parent. How prepared are ECD schools, ECD teachers ready to resolve conflicts without taking in the children, sucking in the children, and the teacher ending up having an attitude towards the child, and the child will not get the best development environment that we are yearning for?
It has to be professional, really. If it's professional, you'll find that really at that point of resolving a problem, normally the child won't be there. If the child is there, you can actually, like maybe say, please, can you come to the office? At that time, you are trying to avoid the child from putting the child on the spot so that the child is there to take the teacher side or their parent side. So at that point, you can actually say, you may book for an appointment, come to the office, then we solve the problem.
Ms. Monte, you agree with that?
Yes, I do. And what we all know as teachers, we've got to be professional. Whatever the parent does, we cannot let it onto the child. So even if the parent comes exploding to us, we remain calm. We don't explode back. Even if they use vulgar language and what, we remain calm. That's the motto.
So like
that's
the air
attitude.
hostess, we are getting into a turbulence and you are asking everybody to keep
just
calm.
calm.
Are we saying teachers don't have emotions? When I'm insulted, I'm not supposed to insult back?
Not to a parent. Never. We don't do it like that.
Thank you very much. So we see that schools are ready to have a healthy relationship with parents, with the child. And the teacher-child-parent relationship is determined by how we organize that communication and to maintain it healthy. But we have got also some tools, I'm so sure, that we use. You mentioned the communication book. Do we have on your calendar also plans on how to develop that relationship where we want to sit the parent, the teacher is there, and the child is there to develop that relationship which enhances or stimulates brain development?
Yes, we do. And what we normally do, we always say we have an open door policy, whereby parents are free to discuss any issues with us. And then we have consultation days with parents. They come in and then we discuss the development of the child.
How do you do
And-
the consultation?
and
Let's
the
let's go to the core. How do you do it's consultation today? How do
Yeah.
you do it at your
Okay.
yes, to develop that relationship?
Children are not involved when we are talking during the consultation day.
Children
Because-
are not involved.
Yes.
That's worrisome. Miss Major.
No, what we're saying is a parent has to come in person, right, to meet the teacher.
So it's a meet the teacher conference.
Yes.
Okay.
The child stays at home at that moment. Then the teacher or the parent, if the parent has questions or queries, or it's not about questions and queries, even praises as well, about their children or their child, that's the time then they have to communicate.
Thank you very much, Miss Majore. You are being very, very clear on what and how ready the schools are to maintain a healthy relationship between the teacher, the child, and the parent. Various ways of doing it, but also we get in this conversation the question of saying, how much is the child involved in terms of maintaining that health relationship? Because we still feel the parent's voice is good, the teacher's voice is good, but leaving the child out makes that relationship disruptive. It is also very important to know that you have got on the calendar necessary activities where you want to ensure that the parent knows what is happening in the school, where you want to ensure that communication is kept between the school, the child, and the parent. Thank you very much. This is what we wanted to really talk about today in this school readiness conversation, the importance of relationships. A school, an ECD classroom, is a community of relationships. I'm Dixon Maraze, your host.